Welcome to this tutorial on triggered communication. This feature can be found within the new Communications tab. Email automation takes the repetitive task off of your to-do list to free up your time for other valuable tasks such as responding to customers' questions or completing deals. Before we get started, please ensure that you have your Castle consent set up for all of your contacts because Mortgage Boss will prevent any type of broker communication from going out without Castle consent being set up first. Please set your clients up to either express or implied. Any client set up to I have no consent will not receive any type of broker communication via Mortgage Boss. This will also be a very good time for you to go into the contact section. Go into My Views, and here's where you can pull up a list of all of your clients that are set to either I have no consent, and then those that are set up to implied or express. For those that I have no consent set up, this is where you have the opportunity now to gain that consent to move them into either implied or express. Before we dive into creating this triggered communication, I'd like to point out that before we start, it's important that you go into your contact section, you go into your views, and you ensure that your view is created that you're going to be using for this triggered communication. Just to show you how I've created mine, I'll go to the sprocket, and then I'll go under My Views. And here I'll just pull up my monthly birthdays, and I'd just like to show you how I've created this. So if you're creating for the first time, you'll come to Add a View, then you will name your view, and then you will click on Using Communication. You will need to use this in order for it to show in the Communications tab when now building your trigger communication. So any views that you have previously created or you're going to create, ensure that you click on this plus, Use in Communication. Next down below, I have my view. So if I click on Contacts, for the very first time, if you're setting this up, you have the bubbles that you can select from, which is your criteria that you can use to build your view. The most popular being at the very top. Here along the right-hand side, I'll have all of my criteria that I'm using for this view. In order to build the criteria, all you'll need to do is just from the bubbles that you see that you'll select the criteria that you're looking for. So if you click on it, it'll populate over on the right-hand side. I'm just going to remove that, and I'm just using that as an example. Once you're done building the criteria for this report, just next underneath Advanced Filter, you'll just need to let Mortgage Boss know that you only want the date of birth, because again, for this birthday view, I just want the triggered communication to go out on the date of their birth, as well as under Filter 2, as the contact owner, I just want this list generated of just my own clients for this view. And then I'll come down and I'll click on Save. If you were building this view for another agent within your office, under Contact Owner, then you would type in your agent's name. If you require further assistance on creating views, please refer to the tutorial on creating views within Mortgage Boss. Now let's head on over into Triggered Communication and begin this automation. Here on the home screen of Triggered Communication is a triggered communication that I have created. I have asked Mortgage Boss to send out a birthday card to all of my clients for each month that they are celebrating. We're going to be replicating this triggered communication for this tutorial. Next, you're going to go over to Plus Communication, and we're going to click on this to begin this tutorial. You'll notice right away the 4 sections. The first section, Summary, this is instructing Mortgage Boss with the key information for the triggered communication. Next is Trigger, and this is setting up the automation date. Down below, we have Email Template, and this is telling Mortgage Boss what needs to be sent out. Down below, you'll see Trigger Output, and in this section here, this is telling Mortgage Boss of whom this triggered email is going to go to. Before we begin this setup, You will notice the pink indicator fields, and these 3 fields must be filled in order to save the triggered communication. Under summary, the first section that we have is name. This is where we're going to name this triggered communication. We'll name it monthly birthdays. Next over, we have type, and it's always defaulted to email. Down below, this is where we're going to link a view. So back in the view section, when I said that it was important that you click on that use in communication box, this is where when you type in your view, Mortgage Boss will be able to find this particular view that we're going to use for this setup. So in the link view section, this is where I'm going to type in monthly birthdays, and Mortgage Boss will do a search of the views that I had already created. Next over, we have module. And this particular view came from the contact section. So you'll see that in this section right next to the view. Also, you'll have activate communication. You can click on active communication, or you can wait until you have set this up and then click on activate communication. Next, we come to the trigger section. And in this section, we have the date field that must be filled in. In the search field, I'm going to type in date of birth. And this is asking Mortgage Boss to perform an action on the date of my client's birthday. So this triggered communication will go out on their birthday. Next over, we have send after date or send before date. Because again, I'd like this to go out on my client's actual birthday, I'm going to leave these 2 fields blank. However, if we were using the scenario of a renewal for this triggered communication, I would like for this broker's communication to go out possibly 2 weeks before my client's renewal date. So therefore, in the send before date, I'll type in a date. Next over, we have ignore year. Because it's only important that Mortgage Boss recognizes my client's day and month, I'm going to leave ignore year with a check mark because the year that my client was born in is not relevant. Next down below, we have email template. And this is where we're going to ask Mortgage Boss to locate the template that I would like for this triggered communication. So in the search, I'm going to type in and I'm going to locate happy birthday card. And then it'll populate in this secondary box below. You'll see language, the template name, subject, which is happy birthday, access. You will see that this is a public template that's available to all Mortgage Boss user. And then finally, next door, we have broker communications. Next to the English search template, you'll see search French templates. In this section, you would pull up a French template of this birthday card that will go out to the clients if I had clients that were of French speaking. Because my audience is 100% English speaking, I don't have to click on both fields. However, if I did have a roster that had French clients, then I could select both. Next over, we have match language. For this scenario, I'm going to leave this unchecked. However, you would use match language to match the language of what's set up in the contact card, either French or English, to the broker communication template that will be going out. So in this scenario, I will leave this unchecked. Next, we come to trigger output. And in this section, this is where Mortgage Boss will generate a list of all of my clients for this trigger. You'll see contact name, email address, language, future trigger dates, meaning that on the date of my client's birthday, Mortgage Boss will send out a birthday card. And then next over, finally, we have active and inactive. All of these will already be defaulted to active. However, if there is a client that's on this list that I do not want communication to go out to, I can simply switch this over to inactive. their name will drop to the bottom of the list and they will be inactive. So a broker communication will not go out, meaning they will not receive a birthday card on this date. A situation that could possibly come up is that if this is a new prospect that I've just entered into Mortgage Boss, I haven't yet established a relationship with them. I don't want a card to go out without that introductory communication first. I will set them to inactive until I establish that relationship. If you are satisfied with the details, as well as with your contact list, you can come straight over to Save and now save this triggered communication. If there are any last-minute clients that you would like to add, do not click on Save. Come down to Add Contacts Manually, and in this section here, you can type in their name in the search field and add them to this list. Once you click on OK, Mortgage Boss will do a search. And then once you've clicked on their name, it will add them to now this contact list. Then you can then go in and then click on Save. Once you received your green bar that your triggered communication has now been updated, you can then walk out of that screen back to your triggered communication home screen. You can review it, and then you can, under status, you can make it active. And this is just a sample of a birthday card that would go out to my clients on their birthday. You'll receive your green bar that their monthly birthday is active, and now each month, Mortgage Boss will send out a birthday greeting to all of your clients via this triggered communication. Please note that this triggered communication contact list will be updated every month. So although I have set this today, if I add any additional clients into Mortgage Boss in the following months, they will be added to this list, and this update occurs every morning at 10 a.m. On behalf of M3 Tech, we'd just like to thank you so much for watching and have yourself a great day.